ahead and get started with your assessment. I'm going to just begin by obtaining visualization of the area. So just moving this out of the way slightly. And I'm just going to lift up your top. Just to about there so that I can visualize the upper abdomen. I'm going to go ahead and undo your shorts here, okay? And then I'll just tuck these up. Perfect, okay. So, let me go ahead and apply my gloves and we can get started. So just having a look at the abdominal cavity, watching your respirations. Let's go ahead and start by just having a look at your belly as you breathe. So just looking at both sides here, as well as having a look at the quadrants individually. So this just allows me to track your breathing and note any differences or similarities between the sides. So essentially, I'd like to see normal rise and fall of the area as you take a breath. So just notating that. Okay. That does appear to be okay. If I shine my light in the center here, it does rise and fall about evenly, so that's good news. So I'm just going to place my hand on your ribs and hold down as you breathe. Good. Same thing on the other side. Very good. Okay. Now I'm just going to go area by area and have a brief inspection of your skin. So just being sure to notate any abnormalities I may see on the surface of the skin. So far, everything does appear to be well within normal limits. I'm not seeing any variance in skin texture, color, so all of that is great news. Okay, just having a brief look at the umbilicus. I am notating what appears to be an older piercing here. Okay. So that appears to have healed quite nicely. Okay. What I'm going to do, Isabelle, is just come slightly closer to you, and I'm going to palpate your abdomen, okay? So you just relax for me. You're just going to feel me press down gently in a few areas. So I'm going to start by feeling around your rib cage. So Just notating the perimeter here. Good. Feeling healthy borders there. Same on this side. Okay. So now starting at the kind of chest wall, lower breastbone, working my way down. Good. So I'm gonna palpate your lower right quadrant. Slightly deeper palpations here. Okay. So coming around, palpating below the umbilicus, feeling for any signs of hernia or any other abnormalities, any lumps or bumps, any abnormal scar tissue around this area. And I'm going to come around and palpate that lower left quadrant. So again, slightly deeper palpations here. Good. Okay. All of that does feel okay. So again, just watching your breath rate. Specifically noting the areas of rise. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and obtain some measurements. Just going to use my calipers to measure bilaterally here. So what that means is I'm going to be measuring comparatively one side to the other, okay? This is going to be very cold. I do apologize about that, but just relax for me. So I'm just going to start by measuring the widest point of your rib cage. So starting at this very top corner and extending all the way out to the widest point here. Okay. Now getting an idea for the distance in the center. As I do this, I'm notating that abdominal gentle rise and fall. Good. Okay, so I'm going to measure from the pelvic bone here to about the top of the belly button, linear. Okay, so let's go in with a secondary measuring tool. Okay, now I'm just going to measure the curvature of your rib cage. So I'm going to place this along the base of your ribs, gently applying pressure here. Indicating the end point here on my ruler. Okay. Now I can mark at the midway point, the umbilicus is right about even, so fairly symmetrical there. Again, just notating any abnormalities and rise here. Good. Good. Okay. Very symmetrical abdomen. That is good news. Now, just retain a few more measurements. This time of your belly button or your umbilicus. I'm going to measure the length of your abdomen down the center. And then we're looking at about 6 inches top. 3 inches bottom, which is good. So we like to see about double the distance on the top versus on the bottom. So that is great. I'm also going to just measure the width of your belly button. And we're looking at about an inch. An inch by an inch. So that's about even there. Of course, tapered on the sides. So I'm going to go ahead and go in with a couple of tools. And first tool is going to be a Reflex Hammer. And this is going to allow me to very gently percuss along the abdominal wall. So just relax. You're just going to feel a light tapping in certain areas, okay? So there's nothing you need to do here. I'm simply listening for any audible differences. hear a slight difference here. Possible bloating in the lower intestine, nothing overtly concerning. With a smaller hammer now. And just gently palpating around the umbilicus. Alright, Isabelle, so I'm going to go in with a couple tools here. So you just relax for me. Okay, so I'm just going to be using this tool to measure the fatty deposits of your abdomen. So essentially what that means is I'm going to apply slight pressure. I'm just indicating how far in my tool goes before it begins to retract. I'm going to do that in several areas, okay? So just pushing in here. So around these bony prominences, like your rib cage, it's not going to take very much pressure at all before it retracts. So less than 1/4 of an inch here. Full 1/4 of an inch along the breastbone. And as we come down, we do get quite a bit more, which is what we like to see. So following down this lower quadrant. I'm coming across the lower abdomen, about 1/2 inch there. Okay, and if I go laterally to the belly button, so I've got about 1 inch there. And about the same on the other side. Good. So now what I'm going to do with this tool is have a look at the piercing. Just looking to see if there's any signs of scar tissue, any indication that it hasn't healed thoroughly. And pull your skin taut here so that I can have better visualization of the area. Just having a look at the connecting tissue here so we can see insertion and the exit here. So entryway is open It does appear to be slightly covered in scar tissue. I do believe the piercing is still active though. So another indication here is to shine my light from one side to the other. Okay. And then of course the reverse. Okay. Very good. And then lastly, I'm going to go ahead and measure the depth. Okay, so I'm going to do that by bringing in my measuring tape here. I'm going to insert and notate length. So, inserting, marking that point. We will measure. And you're right at about an inch, which is good. So, when I took the measurements of your belly button, it was right at about an inch, so we like to see an equal depth as we do the other measurements, which is great news. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with another tool. Going in with this tool, I'm simply going to apply a couple puffs of air internally. Okay. Now just following up topically, and this just allows me to apply a very slight suction to the skin so that I can check the integrity and elasticity of the skin. Very good. Similar test here using a different tool. So I have a pair of tweezers. And this is going to allow me to test for the same thing. So just very slightly pinching the surface of the skin. to the final portion of our examination, which is going to be a test for neurological dysfunction. So at this point, you don't have to do anything. I'm just going to test the reflexes of your abdomen. So you have several muscles in your stomach that should flex and contract upon application of certain stimuli, okay? So you're just going to feel me essentially touch several objects to the surface of your skin, and I'm just looking for a very specific reaction here, okay? So I'm going to start with something simple. This is going to be a test for cold response. So I have a tuning fork here. Using it in a slightly different way today. I'm going to be using to test for temperature response. So because it's cold to the touch, I'm just going to be applying it in certain areas and looking for that normal reactivity of your stomach. So I'm going to start here. You should feel that this is cold. So I'm already seeing a bit of a response here. So on the other side, same thing. And then I'm going to work my way in, notating that normal reactivity of the abdominal wall. Very good reaction here. So I'm seeing that natural flexing, which is great. Indicates healthy neurological activity. Laterally. Good. Okay. I'm going to follow that up with a peripheral neuropathy examination here. So in line with the previous test, just using a different tool. So this is going to provide a brushing sensation, okay? So same starting point. Good, you're doing great. Good, so I'm seeing good reactivity here. It does appear that your neurological functions are intact. Okay. So let's continue with the second tool. And this time I'm going to go in with a kind of soft, wispy, feathery brush here. And this is going to allow me to produce a very gentle sensation on the skin, okay? So same thing. Good, and you can feel that okay. So let me know at any point if it feels any different. So you feel this here. You feel it here. Good. And you feel it here as well. Now does it feel any different on this side than it does on this side? Okay, and it feels the same on the top versus on the bottom. And you can feel it on this side the same as on this side. Good. And no loss of sensation around the belly button here. You can feel this all. Externally you feel it. Internally you feel that as well. Barely, but you do feel it. Okay. Good. Very good. Okay. Testing with our Wittenberg wheel. I'm going to very gently touch this to the surface of the skin, and I'd like you to just indicate when you feel it and if it feels any different to you, okay? Just say yes when you feel it. Good. 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 Good reactivity there. Good. Good. Mm-hmm. And it feels the same. You feel it a little more here. Okay. So I am seeing an increase in reaction here below the umbilicus, which is interesting. So just something to note. I wouldn't say it's an abnormal reaction. So we do have more nerve endings as we move down into the pelvic region. So that might be why you're feeling it more here. So I'm going to move it down in a linear motion. I'd like you to just indicate when you start to feel it more. So about here, and you feel it the most here. Okay. And on this side, is that the same? About here? Okay. And here is about the same. Okay, very good. It's good that it's equal on both sides. I'm going to do a couple more palpations here, so just relax for me. Just going to palpate a little bit here, so palpating your organs as well as your intestinal wall. Great. So just palpating along the lower abdomen region here. Good. Okay. Now I'm just going to run my hands across the surface of your skin gently, just feeling for any abnormal skin texture. Feeling for any lumps or bumps, either underneath or on the surface of the skin. Just gently tracing my fingers across allows me to feel directly underneath the surface of the skin. without manipulating any abnormalities that might be hiding. So just feeling for any indication of something abnormal. Do feel some slight texture of the skin here. Lastly, I'm just going to use the back of my hands to test for any temperature variation. So I didn't feel that throughout my examination, but I do like to make sure that I go ahead and check. So just using my hand as a thermometer to test for any possible hot spots, or any areas that are warmer than others that could be an indication of infection. Any possible swelling. Okay, so all of that does feel about the same. And just doing the last little poke around to make sure I didn't miss anything. So I do see some abnormality in skin texture. Doesn't appear to be a rash. Maybe some mild eczema. It is slightly bumpy. Very, very slightly pinkish in color. Slightly more prominent on this side, so it looked to me like some very mild eczema. Could possibly use an unscented moisturizer. Something a little bit thicker should help clear that up. But other than that, I'm not noticing anything that I would say is overtly abnormal. Just have a look at the hip bone. Noting placement here in proximity to the abdomen. Does appear equal. I'm not noticing any dislocation. Okay. Alright, Isabelle, so I'm going to go ahead and help you with your shorts. We have completed your abdominal assessment, and you are welcome to take a couple of minutes. Whenever you're ready, you can head up to the receptionist desk and we will get you scheduled for your next annual appointment, okay? Okay. All right. Thank you for coming in. Have a good night.